Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode 309 of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm Jimbo, your host, and today is another interview from SEMA. This one, I'm recording this little intro after being home from SEMA for a little while, but this episode's a good one, and it's more so of a fun episode, kind of how I like to roll a little bit. And this interview is in the back meeting room at RUPES, whatever it is, booth at SEMA. So Jason Rose, Dylan Von Kleist, Kevin Davis, and we joke he's my co-host, and his wife Michelle. We'll all sit down to talk kind of the new releases of RUPES and the RUPES shoes and what the heck's up with those. And then a few other things. It's a really fun, interesting chat. So check it out. We talk about their new training facility, which, got launched. Actually, the event was about just over a week ago as listening to this show. That's cool. No, I was not there. And so, the training facility that Jason talks about and Dylan talk about, I think is really going to be a nice asset, not only for their company, but for detailers as well. Just a place to go learn and train and kind of have it all set up. So anyway, without further ado, this week's episode, all about RUPES. And don't forget, we still have the Detailer Inner Circle giveaway going on. wearedetailers.com if you want to sign up for that. All right. Hope you guys enjoy this week's episode.
I ran here.
Nothing on?
No.
Is this thing on? Hello?
It is.
Anybody? Oh,
It is.
That records your phone?
No, my phone's just sitting here for time.
Oh.
This just records on its own.
I was
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
And that's how we start podcasts. So welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. That's how we start. Jason said he wasn't going to talk, but
I'm talking with a mouthful.
Talking with a mouthful. Anyway, we are in this cool little room for RUPES that I've never been invited into before. So I feel
You're
honored.
in the inner circle.
Or the square.
Or the square.
The
Thank you.
octagon.
The inner square.
This is actually where we make detailers fight each other for free tours.
Really? Is this where all the RUPES shoes get handed out?
Oh, do you want some? I got some. Your size?
I have a pair of Nikes. So.
Oh.
Anyway.
No comment.
You're going to have to start editing now on this thing.
I'm not going to comment on that
There's a
one.
lot of static on this line.
My hairy mic's going to stop not working. Jason just named my mic Hairy Mike.
It's appropriate.
Anyway, let's, why don't we start with you, ladies, first. Why don't we introduce since we're not doing video, because I just ran out of battery in my video. Anyway, why don't you, who are you and what do you do?
I am Michelle Davis. I am the wife of the infamous Kevin Davis, the Detailers helper.
Infamous.
The
Wow.
sandwich maker.
Not famous. Infamous.
Infamous, yes. And well, we've been together, doing the Detailers helper thing for several years now, and I have ventured into the shop with him now, and I'm taking on some building projects, and he and I built a Jeep together that I've raced in a rally recently, and it's called Sugar High. It's on display over in the South Hall right now.
Very cool.
And I also was involved with the all-female build this year with Bogey from All Girls Garage. She headed it up, and we built a 57 Chevy truck that is in the Central Hall.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun this year.
Very cool. Very cool.
Besides
making sandwiches.
Infamous Kevin.
So the co-host of the detailing
co-host of the Auto Detailing Podcast. This is my dozen.
This is number 12, Kevin.
This is number 12.
Welcome.
So we were talking last night. It's like you guys literally talk about nothing every time. It's
Never.
like we're like the Seinfeld of Auto Detailing Podcasts.
I don't even know if you
Podcast
get
about
that kind
nothing.
of credit.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm from Detailers Helper, as you know if you listen to this podcast, and I am the dedicated sandwich maker of Sugar High Motorsports.
He makes great sandwiches.
It's a prestigious position. We're trying to steal him away. He makes sandwiches in our booth.
Water boy.
I'm going to
He's
headhunt
also
you for your
water boy.
sandwich skills.
You're eating
Claw
chewy bars,
tool.
you eat sandwiches.
They have to use the muscle mustard, the right
Yeah.
purpose on it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you were bringing sandwiches. I was told there would be sandwiches here.
I ate them.
How about you?
So I'm Dylan Von Kleist, marketing manager for RUPES USA. Among other things, I serve as Jason Rose's personal assistant.
Does a very good job.
I'm also occasionally the janitor. I scrub a mean toilet. And we just discussed on another podcast that I've never actually detailed a car. I'm just really good with Photoshop.
You lie. And he lies pretty well.
And who are you?
Jason Rose with RUPES USA, and Dylan Von Kleist is way too humble. He's actually a backbone in our company. Does a lot for us, and probably responsible for at least $5 of our growth.
At least this year.
Yeah.
So, Jason, I was trying to think about the last time we talked on the podcast, and I think it was right after you had come to RUPES.
Come on, say it with me.
RUPES.
RUPES. There you go. You got it. Practice that. Go get it.
It's just a podcast for 20 minutes of him saying RUPES.
We win! That's probably what people hear when me and Kevin talk. Repeating the same thing over and over. So what has been going on with you over the past year? I know you're a world traveler, many countries, but what have you been up to?
Well, along with my colleague here, Dylan, we have been shaping the messaging of our current and new products. So we're developing training content and marketing content. We've also been busy building the new facility. So we have this new facility in Denver, and I'm very excited about our training center and our new manufacturing facility based in Denver.
You have? It's opened or opening?
We get the keys tomorrow, I kid you not.
Awesome.
I'm actually leaving the last day of SEMA. I won't be here to get back to set up for a kind of a preview event for all of our internal guys that are here from Italy and parts unknown, to come to Colorado and see the building for the first time, because the Italians haven't seen it pretty much since we started digging a hole.
Right.
So,
okay, so RUPES USA is what does that team look like? So is it Todd?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, it's a growing team.
Because back when it first started, it was like I interviewed Chip and Todd, and it was pretty much them.
And they are effectively employee 1 and 2 for RUPES. So I'll do the quick genesis so everybody kind of has it. But when RUPES first started selling in the U.S., there was no team here. Everything came direct from Italy to guys like Kevin Brown, Todd Cooper-Ryder, Phil Yu. There was these distributors that were buying product and shipping over the ocean to the States with no support whatsoever, which is okay. The tool works, but if you have a question, who do you talk to other than the distributor? So Chip was brought in. He has relationships with the executives that go back from other companies and things. And Chip's first hire was Todd. And so for a period of time, those were the only two guys. They were doing everything. Like you jokingly say, I was like a janitor and all that stuff too. It's like they were pretty much the entire staff for the company with no physical location. They both worked from home. They purchased, RUPES SPA, our Italian mothership, purchased Cyclo tool makers in Colorado, which effectively created RUPES USA. Gave them a physical location, gave them another tool in the line, the Cyclo, gave them people who were already doing manufacturing so they could teach them to build and repair the tools, and came with customer service and all the things that you would need to have a business.
Because if the tool breaks, sending it back to Italy is
kind of a weird way to go about doing things, right?
I didn't think about that,
So it was basically like a turnkey company they could buy.
Got it.
And the Cyclo's a polisher. There's a lot of synergy between the two brands. Then fast forward a little bit, and I started exactly one day before Jason Rose. I like to remind everybody of that, so I have seniority.
And where? Let's get into. So wait,
he reminds me.
Wait, he's your assistant or you're his assistant?
I pull rank.
If it's seniority rules.
Seniority thing. One day.
Let's. I want to pause right there. What is your background, just for anyone who doesn't know?
Oh, my background. Good Lord. So I started out as a detailer operator years and years ago to essentially pay for my first car while I was in high school. Started a business.
Where was that at?
Southern California.
Okay, cool.
That grew and changed, and I bounced in and out of the industry. I thought I had to go get like a regular job. Like I felt like I need to get an office job somewhere because washing cars is for like losers.
That is such a common theme of like trying to get out of the industry. I've been trying to get out of the industry forever.
You gotta feel like you're
and
legitimized,
I just keep getting sucked in, which is.
So I went to work for a number of big companies and did things, but I absolutely hated it. And I had a relationship that went way back with Adam Talley of Adam's Polishes.
Yep.
We'd known each other since my days in high school detailing, and he needed somebody to come on board and help him out. And so he.
Did you ever help him at the swap meet?
Yeah, that's essentially where we started our relationship. Was at the swap meet, lighting the hood of his F-150 on fire. And
Got it. Yeah.
Selling somebody else's product at that point, but he was a detailer. Yeah, their stuff.
We had him on the. Yeah. I had him on the show, and he talked about Dur stuff. And,
blended by Dur
and the
Dave
guy
in Long
the
Beach.
Coke, the Coke.
Yeah, I was there. So
trucks.
all that. So for those who've heard the podcast with Adam, I'm in that whole story. I was there for that.
Got it.
But I was just another detailer. We worked together during those times, and when he did hire me on, the decision I had to make was I had a very good-paying job that was a career. I had was a shirt and tie kind of guy going to an office, and I absolutely loathed it. And I went to my wife and I told her I had this opportunity, but half the money, but to go back into the detailing business. And she said, "Do what makes you happy. We'll figure it out." So that started my career in kind of the supplier side of the business. I had been still detailing on the side, and I had clients that wouldn't let me go, so I would detail for them. So I kind of got drugged back in. Fast forward, I spent almost 10 years with Adams. Did a brief stint at Surf City Garage. Say what I can about that.
They have a nice garage.
Yeah.
I toured the garage. It's super cool.
And it was in Surf City.
And it was in Surf City.
Yeah. But then I did go back to Adams to help them with some other things. And while I was there,
that corporate job a marketing position? Or?
It was more of a logistics position. So. And then
logistics. He scrubbed toilets.
Yeah, I scrubbed toilets.
He moved paper
while wearing a suit and tie. And so this opportunity kind of came because I'd happened to have moved to Colorado when Adams moved from California to Colorado.
Got it.
And I was there, and RUPES buys Cyclo, and I know all the folks at Cyclo, and this opportunity presented itself. I actually found out that this guy was coming on board.
Got it.
And I
then you had to ask for twice as much.
And I said I want double the money.
Dang, they got a lot of money.
I had been friends with Todd, friends and competitors for a long time, so I knew he was already here. I knew he was coming on board, and it was just like this golden opportunity. You don't say no to an opportunity to work with some of the guys you respect as much as I have respect for Jason and Todd.
You know what's interesting though? They didn't tell me you were on board until after I agreed to. So what's up with that?
Would you make that
very intentional. You get there on your first day, surprise!
Surprise! Look who we got.
But back to your original question with the U.S. team. So that gets us to kind of there.
Right.
Alberto Quiroz-Cabrera comes on at the exact same time as us, and he's we call him the demo bot. He's a rock star. If you come to SEMA and see the guy, all he does is demo all day. He doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep. You just wind him up and he demonstrates. He's awesome. We added Jeremy Harding and Paul Weidler in their territories. We just added Nick McQueen, who was with me at Adams for a period of time, and was then at Dreammakers Automotive in Fort Wayne doing things with crazy exotic cars. And opportunity, we needed a guy there, so we hired him, and we're just kind of growing and growing and growing.
And you guys, your offices now are at the Cyclo offices? Or?
In the old Cyclo buildings where we're at essentially until tomorrow. Yep.
Cool. So I think you were telling me, and chime in wherever you want.
I'll have a sarcastic comment.
Okay, every once in a while.
I just want to point out the co-host is not saying very much.
Yeah, co-host, please help me. You know what's funny? I did a podcast yesterday, and this guy literally, it'll air. Marty Hill, he's a great guy, but he literally just owned it, and I'm like, dude, you should just be the host. Do you want to be the host? You're talking so much. Do you just want to be the host?
You just got up and left, and he just kept going.
You guys got it handled. What am I even here for? Jeez. Anyway, actually, we talked at Chris West's place for an IDA meetup, and you were telling me about this building that you were going to build out, and you had mentioned that it was like the ultimate detailer's garage. So do you want to tell us about? We're eventually going to get into the products that you guys released and are showing, but do you want to talk about this building, what it's going to serve as, what what you're going to do there?
Well, the whole facility is primarily our manufacturing for North America and I guess South America.
The Americas,
Is the Americas separate? Is it a separate entity from the Italian?
It's a subsidiary.
Yeah, we're a wholly owned subsidiary.
Okay,
so we still answer them, but we operate independently.
Got it.
So we manufacture the tools for this market, of the tools, not all of them yet.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff,
Any other distribution
and then,
would work.
tagged onto that building is the new training center. And the way the training center is designed is it's a fully functioning detail center.
Okay. Wow.
So, and it has a classroom. So
wait, are you guys double timing this? Are you going to get back into detailing?
Oh, hey.
Dude, if you heard my knees and wrists and things crack and pop, there's no way I can do this anymore.
Like, we just got someone to build us our own detail shop.
Well, actually, what I was thinking we could do is if we get all the guys that we have in sales and training to do 2 foot by 2 foot sections, just like a demo, you could complete a car.
complete a car.
So we used to do a test panel and we're done.
Right.
They're doing $5 quick washes. That's all they're doing.
Hacks.
Yeah.
No, those buffers are bad for
Toyota
your car, I hear.
Toyota Tercels only. That's their business model.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do any detailing for sale, but Dylan has reminded me that he now has a detailer with a facility that I'll be doing his truck.
Yeah, my plan is I pull into the detail center and I throw my keys on his desk and just tell him to call me when he's done.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I need to take my microfiber towel and wave it in the air.
Yeah. Honk the
Dylan,
horn.
your car's ready. So
I'll take.
Here's $1.
2-3 bucks, dude, you'll be golden.
So the rationale behind that is that we believe the best way to teach detailing is to actually have that environment, where you're actually detailing there. And it's not going to be, for sale services, but we'll have all the facility that a detailer in a high-end environment would have. So very nice wash bay, paint correction area, a delivery zone, a vacuum area, and everything that a detailer would need to detail cars.
So these are destination classes, right? That would be what,
you guys
what the goal is.
Aren't charging for? Is that?
Well,
right?
some of them we will charge, some we won't. But one of our biggest objectives as a company right now, because since 1947 we're 70 years old in Europe, but in the United States we're less than 6 years old. So one of our primary objectives is to get distribution network established throughout the country. So as a company, all of us are involved in training and securing new distribution, so that the training center is going to be used a lot for internal training, like non-public, not open to the public, but training distributors. So there'll be a lot of that. There'll also be quarterly some open houses, some come on in and see what we have to offer kind of thing. But there's a lot of programs. There's a long list of programs we'll be doing, webinars, and very exciting idea you had, the whole Bigfoot experience. Can we share that or no?
We could maybe talk about it. It's a concept that we kind of came up with, and we were thinking the working title is the Bigfoot experience, and there's not a price tag on it yet, but we're kind of had this concept where we would have people come in and their class would be whatever they wanted it to be, but their start point would be they would actually work in the manufacturing line and assemble their tool with our manufacturing team step by step, so they actually get to build their own tool. Then the follow-up day would be with Jason or one of our trainers in the training center working on whatever concepts or techniques or things they want to do with that tool, and they leave with the tool that they built, and this whole kind of, they get to see the process from start to finish and then use the tool, and some other cool things built into it. So
wait, so you guys are actually making the tool?
Yeah.
15s and 21s, all 15s and 21s sold in North America since last year. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, no, we have a couple companies making them for us.
So with that, the podcast is over. Thanks for listening.
Am I just ripping on you guys too much?
That sound you heard is me leaving.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a Build-A-Bear concept.
That's cool.
Like that's kind of
What
like
an
Each
experience.
Rupus gets one of those little hearts that you put
Right,
on the
yeah.
you assemble it.
Talk to you too. You can hit it. There's like a second button you
Get
can
the
hit.
birth
Wait, hold on.
certificate.
Write that down.
Little outfits you can put on it.
Trademark.
Is that going
Detailers
to
Helper
be an option though?
2017.
Because a lot of people have actually
Would love to have custom things, and so that's what we're
Right.
talking about. The logistics of it, we're not really sure. We could get the Harry Mike finish on it.
Right, yeah. This could be a machine, and you could put an attachment on the top for your hand, and it could be a Harry Mike edition of the.
The Rupes Harry Mike.
Just saying.
Oh man, the wheels fell off.
Yeah, there you go.
Early.
Sorry.
He steps in, and the whole thing falls apart. It's just
And this is why we have
is
hour-long
right.
conversations about nothing.
That's right. See how it is. Sorry.
What were we talking about?
We were talking
the
about the new
center.
training
Okay, the
center,
Build-A-Bear.
the Sasquatch experience.
Yes.
the
that he was
Sasquatch
talking about.
experience.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe
That's super cool. Though.
If
That
we
is
can
a
find a
really
way to
cool
make
idea.
it custom, we don't know yet. Like I was
Right.
thinking, the idea of maybe having their shop name printed on the head or something.
Right.
We don't know exactly yet. It's all we've got to
Right.
get moved in
But
first.
it's an idea. That's right.
One thing
step
for
at a time.
Right. Very cool. Co-host, do you have anything you want to add there?
No, we're excited. We were actually supposed to go home and take a nap
Right.
after SEMA, and we'll be at the open house, so
Nice.
it'll be pretty exciting.
Awesome.
So we're going to drive to Colorado and then to Montana.
We might be asleep at the open house.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
be
right.
there.
Oh, I'm making sure you guys won't be asleep.
So let's get into releases here. I honestly haven't toured the booth much because I've been walking between all the halls, and apparently that takes a long time. But let's talk about what have you guys released recently, and then what have you released? Is there any exclusive releases to SEMA?
We got nothing. We just been sitting on our thumbs all year,
We're
right?
actually discontinuing things at this show. We're going backwards.
No, I joke about it, but we've been feverishly working on a lot of products. I think in my whole career, this SEMA, I can't think of any other. This is my 24th SEMA. I can't think of any other time where so many items were launched at one time by a company. And so we have 2 complete polishing systems that include the tool, the pads, the compounds, and then we have 2 new orbital polishers.
Pneumatic.
Yeah, pneumatic. Did I say that?
No, you said 2 new orbital. That's fine. They are orbital.
Orbital and
Pneumatics.
pneumatic. See why I have him?
Yeah, I get it.
And then also our new dry sanding dust extraction system. There's just so much all at one time. You know,
What's the market for the dry sanding?
I was just
Is that
gonna ask that.
predominantly
Sure.
auto body?
it's
We're
all
right there.
body shop.
Body shop, but it has applications in woodworking, kitchen and bath. Like anything you're using sandpaper and creating dust,
Right.
that would be for that.
Drywall?
Potentially. Could potentially do drywall. It's, we're kind of trying to tie it all in with the detailing side, so we have the polishers that make sense to go after auto body.
Right.
And which is really the core of what RUPES does everywhere else in the world. We're really weird here in the U.S. that we're so heavy detailing.
Got it.
But yeah, we're square target at body shop and guys who are leveling filler and things like that.
Okay.
And then the hope is we sell them a polisher after they're done. So
Got it. Is that I've heard that the switch in the body shop industry over to a DA is kind of challenging because they're very old school in their processes and mindset. Is that accurate or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think orbitals for decades have been a hard sell for body shops. They're very ingrained into that rotary approach, and they've been doing it for a long time, and it's just hard for them to switch over. Part of that is the movement, the actual movement of a rotary. It has that pull to one side, and to learn how to negotiate that around a car, it takes practice and skill and muscle memory, and then you switch to a completely different movement on a tool, and it just jacks with your brain. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. But it's been a hard sell, but I think this year that's going to all change because we have the gear-driven polisher.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so gear-driven is a dual action. It has orbit and a rotation, but both are forced. They're both geared. You pull the trigger, you get both movements into the paint.
Okay, so what does that mean for the guy that's like gear-driven?
Well, it exists.
An orbital and a rotary had a baby.
Got it. Okay.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
That's
I
really
love
good.
that.
Nice, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
drop that.
Okay, we're done.
We're done.
I was trying to get more time.
I
out of
got that
but-
marketing job for a reason.
That's right. You can stop cleaning toilets.
I can
now.
stop cleaning toilets finally. Yeah.
Do you want to expand on that, though?
Yeah, so it exists in that space between orbital and rotary in terms of aggressiveness and also learning curve. I mean, so we believe that we can take some of those hardcore rotary guys and get them finishing better on black cars without swirl marks by switching them to this gear-driven.
Okay. So does that play into the whole body shop idea too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Body shops, car dealers, detail shops. I mean, it's a different movement. What's happening now in polishing is orbital, now gear-driven, and rotary. Now detailers and technicians have developed preferences.
Right.
So some people are really into dual action orbitals. Some are really into rotary, or some are hybrid using both. But now there's preferences that exist. So what we as a company are doing is satisfying those
Hitting all
preferences.
angles of whatever someone wants.
Yeah.
I've always been too much of a monkey to do I have to have the gear-driven forced rotation just because every time I always stop the machine because I'm just too.
Right. So
So I like the forced rotation
because you
because I
can't
can use
bog it down.
Right, because I can use the weight of the machine and that and that kind of thing. That's just
Is the
that's
machine
how I
itself
learned how to polish. So.
Is the machine itself heavier as well?
No.
A little bit than the 15 and 21, but not much.
Not noticeable.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just the action of it, that forced action, that makes it more powerful. You're going to get faster results. Does it when you're working on softer paints, would a forced rotation have an effect on that? Or
absolutely.
Okay.
So soft paint, any movement actually can be too aggressive on it. So even dual action random orbitals sometimes are too
and the
aggressive.
pad and liquid combo comes into play.
Exactly.
But I just wondered if that forced rotation affected softer. If it's more aggressive, obviously like a rotary on softer paint is going to.
Well, the way I like to say that is if it's soft enough that it's haze prone,
right?
We use that term haze prone. And a dual action random orbital, if you're getting a haze on soft paint, then the gear driven's just going to do more of that. It's going to haze more.
Okay. Did all the liquid labels get changed too?
No, those are all new systems. So
all new systems.
Yeah,
so each machine has a system.
Exactly. And you could probably, Jason could probably speak to it better than I can. But essentially, the best analogy is you build a race car. You put a bigger, more powerful engine, right? You buy your Camaro and you hop up the horsepower. You go to the racetrack. The first thing that happens is transmission breaks.
Right.
So you fix the transmission. Then the rear end blows out. Fix the rear end.
Do you know anything about that, Kevin? That kind of
breaking
down all the time?
Yeah, Michelle does.
She should have been
Jeep. Yeah, or motorhome. Yeah, we like to blow up
the motorhome.
That's the way you get new parts.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
It's part of the strategy.
That's right.
That's good. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I love it. But it's that kind of concept. It's that concept is that we can build a tool, which would be a motor, but if you don't have all the other components dialed in, you're not getting everything you're supposed to get out of the system. The system's just flat not going to work.
Right.
So this mad scientist goes crazy and gets the lubrication systems and the abrasives and everything dialed in for that specific type of tool movement. So we have now in the rotary category a rotary compound, rotary pads that have very specific foam shapes and sizes and PPI, all the things, and the same thing for the gear driven. It gets a very specific type of pad, a very specific type of compound that goes with it, and then we still have the stuff that we've been selling with the orbitals, which is all designed around the orbital movement.
I think it's so smart because, like, if you don't have that, a person can pick up the right machine, but wrong pad, wrong liquid, and then they blame it on the machine.
It's always the machine's fault.
It's always the machine's fault.
It's never the
never the operator.
Because every detailer is perfect all the time.
All the time, 100%.
Just ask them.
We are. Look at Kevin. So I think that's smart to make a dummy-proof system. That it's like, well, yeah, it didn't work because you're using the rotary pad on the forced rotation, and obviously you're not going to get the desired result.
Well, the thing about this is not to communicate that if you use the different compound or pad that you would necessarily get a bad result. That's not the message. The message is if you want peak performance that we as a company have validated, then you're going to use the components that we put with that tool. Mm-hmm. That's the message.
What's up with the shoes? The shoes were a new product, right?
Yeah.
Why shoes?
We do something weird for marketing every single year.
To be.
Because if you walk around barefoot, it's kind of awkward. You might get little sticky things.
I literally, when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke, and I was like, "Wow, that's funny." Like, and then people were getting up. I'm like, "Wait, is this serious, or it's just a marketing tool?"
They'll be available for purchase through distributors. We have them. We're probably not going to have them indefinitely. It's just we do these things for SEMA. We pioneered like little polisher keychains, like a couple years ago, and we updated those, and we did.
The nano version.
Yeah, we did a nano version of the keychain a couple years. Well, last year we did the nano USB drive, so it looks like a little miniature nano polisher with a USB inside of it.
Right.
So we as a company were big on branding, and I can't take credit for those shoes. That's 100% our guy over in Italy, Francesco. But it's. Are
you laughing at me or him, or what are you laughing at?
The co-host is laughing.
Oh, that's a good lie.
So next year we got to one up, and I don't know what we do after shoes.
Hats.
Jason suggested thong underwear. I didn't think that the
thong underwear, brassieres. I think
nobody's gonna see them.
Oh yeah, they will.
There's a trend.
Pants.
Little squirt tassels.
They have girls out here like that. Why can't you guys do it?
Yeah, it is Vegas. It's perfect place to launch them.
Yeah. Talk about a marketing ploy. Just saying. 25 dudes in thongs.
Oh my
Lord. Talk about going viral on social media.
That's what I'm saying. It could work.
Yeah, viral's not. Yeah.
That's not the word I use.
Wrong word. Viral.
That's gonna be your
viral in the wrong way. As in I don't know, communicable disease.
Possibly. Yeah, that kind of viral.
What else you got? What else you guys want to promote, talk about, highlight, discuss?
Well, isn't that enough?
I don't know. I asked Kevin that question. I tried to end it on Kevin one time. He's like, "That's it? We're done?" I'm like,
and then we went for 35 more
and then
minutes.
we went for 35 more minutes. So I was like, "All right."
I've actually got one for you, so I don't know if you take a look at the custom tools that were outside. So obviously after this goes live, people will have already completed the voting, but we did something called the Art of Bigfoot contest this year where we asked 10 painters, highly respected guys. Craig Frazier is an airbrush artist, and Cam from HS Customs, who his Camaro's out in the center of the hall, won Battle of the Builders last year. Highly sought after guys. We gave them a Bigfoot tool and said, go crazy, create something. So we've got them hanging on the booth wall, and we're asking the fans to vote for their favorite. The one that gets the most votes, we're going to give $2,000 to the charity of their choice.
Oh, wow.
And all of them donated their time, donated their skills and everything to this to raise money for a charity.
Awesome.
The tools are all signed underneath by the guys. It's a pretty cool concept.
Wow.
And Michelle would like to publicly thank RUPES for donating the Wonder Woman polisher to her cause.
Shout out to Matt Ward and Keith Eccles, Watch Garage. You're going to get a call from Michelle Davis recreating that tool for her.
That's right.
So, yes.
No, they're freaking awesome.
Those guys,
there's like all of them, they're really cool.
Yeah, so I'm humbled. Cool. It was kind of a concept I had, and I was like kind of nervous to even ask these guys something like that. And the fact that all 10 came through, and none of these were phoned in. They crushed it, absolutely crushed it. So it's been huge. Like the visibility's been huge. People are having a lot of fun looking at them. Awesome. Everybody's asked if they can buy them. The answer is universally no, because they're mine.
I was going to say, so the winner gets auction. Okay.
Yeah.
Aren't they going on display in my training center?
They actually are going on display. So another addition to the training center.
There's another chance to get it.
Yeah.
That's Sunday.
So so the Wonder Woman tool must be locked away.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, what goes there? Nothing.
Nothing.
We're headed to that train, so just let us take that one.
You're going to carry it.
I want to make sure it gets there. We got the motorhome. We got plenty of room.
Such
You don't
a
want to
giver.
There may be a nano keychain in its place.
Colored in the red marker.
Yeah, red marker.
A stick figure Wonder Woman on it. There you go.
That's super funny. That is super funny. Well, if you got nothing else, how can people follow the training center or get more information on that, or you, or
there's more news. He just reminded me.
Oh,
there's a brand new.
See, this is how we go 35 more minutes.
This will answer his question. So I'm going to go ahead and let Jason talk.
Yeah.
There's
Again?
Okay. There's a new RUPES USA website. We've not had our own website. It's been the corporate one for everybody, and then the cycle website. We're getting an all-new website for RUPES USA,
Nice.
created by yours truly and some very talented folks. But
When is that launch, or is it launched?
Shortly after we move to the new building, once
Cool.
the training center goes live, and that site will have calendar events coming to the training center, plus all the obvious stuff, the product information, and where we're going to be outside of the facility doing training. But
Awesome.
yeah, a whole section of the site will be dedicated just to information about the training center.
Nice. And that'll be rupesusa.com?
RUPESUSA.com. Yep.
And then as far as the programs, give us a little bit of time to move in. We have to unpack boxes, and but we're developing content. So in addition to the facility being completed, we're developing some content because we want to raise the bar on this whole training thing. And so when someone comes to our facility, we want them to really have an
What do you mean by
awesome
raise the
experience.
bar with training? What's kind of your philosophy and vision for that?
Well, we're going to get very accurate about the type of information that we're teaching. It's not just an infomercial on RUPES products. It's woven in there is technical skill on detailing, an entire car, and machine polishing in general. Including interiors and engines. We have
anybody who's ever attended one of our trainings will tell you when we go around to these trainings, it's not like you said, the infomercial for RUPES.
Right.
We talk the technical aspects of why things happen and how you do this and how you do that.
Right.
And we use the tools as a frame, but basically we give you the information, and we are confident enough in our product and confident enough that we've provided the right information that when you are done with the training, you go, aha, well, I definitely want that tool because of what I learned here.
Because you can see how it is applicable to what I need to do.
Exactly. We're not a hard sell company. We believe that the product pretty much speaks for itself. We just have to educate people about what proper process looks like, and they're going to make the decision to buy the tools based on that.
I think it's worked for you guys.
I think we're doing okay. This year, Jason's going to actually get a salary.
Whoa!
We're going to start paying him.
Thanks for that announcement.
Do you guys envision, like, if I'm a new detailer and I come and obviously the content and the program has to be creative, but I could come to the training center as my first step for how I become a professional detailer and run a successful business, or is it more of core practices, best practices within detailing itself?
In the beginning, our content that we're launching, and I mean, to answer your question, yes, as a new detailer, you can come and learn stuff from us. But we're not going to teach on the business or the commercial side of detailing in the beginning. We're focused on the service side and the processes.
Okay. Because I asked that because, I don't know, every day on Facebook, somebody new has started a detailing school / program /
and that's why that's what kind of
so.
led to my question of like what is raising the bar mean to you? But I like that answer of being able to see, how things kind of all come together and work together and that, because Kevin's right. It's like, someone was asking me last night, why don't you have training? I'm like, because everyone has training. Like,
training is the new product tester. Is like what I'd say,
or the new product company. Like having your own product company.
Well, but everybody for the longest time, like, you get constantly bombarded working on the supplier side of the business that I have for a while. Oh, I want to be a tester for you guys. How do I get employed? I want to be a tester. Now
we were just kind of talking about that before we started recording.
And now there's a new push. I want to be a trainer, and it's one thing. I'll put some unsolicited advice out into the universe right now. If you can make a car shiny, that's great. It does not make you a trainer.
Right. Yeah.
A trainer is someone who can teach something, and you have to have good communication skills.
Right.
You have to be able to form a curriculum and teach it. I've seen too many guys who are excellent detailers, it's not a knock on them, that say they're going to start training, and basically what they do is awful. I mean, they can't teach the concept. It's a very different, you have to have another skill set.
Right.
You can't just be, I'm a good detailer.
They can't communicate what they're actually doing into words, and that's a whole other skill set.
There's plenty of very talented detailers out there, and every single one of them suddenly wants to be a trainer.
You'd rather have a great trainer that knows how to detail than a spectacular detailer that may want to teach, because there's nothing worse than terrible trainers.
So how do you, if there's guys out there looking at training, how do you decipher good training from bad training?
It's really hard to do, because you're going to have to rely on maybe people who have gone there already. How was it for you? Did you feel you got your value out of it?
Right.
He knows we do a lot of our seminars together, him and I, and I've worked with all of our guys, honestly, at one time or another during the year, but I start every seminar with, you tell us what you need out of this.
Right.
And at any point you need to stop us. If you don't feel like you are getting maximum value, if you're a detailer, you're taking time off to sit somewhere and listen to me talk, you better be getting something for that.
Right.
So please, if you're not, and I'll ask it repeatedly through the class, are we getting through? Are you guys getting something out of this? Because if you're not, I want to shift right now.
Right. The last thing they want is hearing you talk for the first 5 hours, and they're like,
well, great, I knew all that stuff you already talked about. Right. I learned nothing new here.
This is a yellow pad.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one goes out, you put this on.
Don't be confused by the yellow color. It is a yellow pad.
Don't be confused with the white pad.
That's right.
That's a different color.
It's a joke, but it probably happens.
Oh, I'm sure.
Unfortunately,
you can give your check for $1,500 too, right?
Right. So would you actually suggest maybe some of those like events at detailing.com or AutoGeek or whatever, like start there maybe if you're looking at training?
I mean, that's a good place to at least get a taste for what, like when we do most of the trainings, they're not high dollar trainings. So you get a full day's work, and it may not be the most intensive training you've ever had, but you're going to get a little sample of kind of the flavor that RUPES has, and other manufacturers go to those places
100%,
too.
right.
You go in there and you go, you might get a feel for it. Those guys really crushed it in the 8 hours I had with them. I'd love to go pay for that more expanded training with them somewhere else or whatever it is. But outside looking in, everybody's going to tell you they have the best training ever.
Of course.
There's so many guys. There's a number of people in this business who've been doing it for a very long time who do an excellent job. And now there's this new, like you're saying, everybody's doing it. They all can't be the best. You ask them and they're all the best, but they all can't be the best.
Well, the other thing to pay attention to is we have a great tool nowadays in social media, and that when a training event happens, there's a wake that happens after it, and it's a permanent documentation of somebody's thoughts and feelings about what they experienced for that event.
Right.
So if you study some of that, you can kind of sift through the comments like, oh, that guy was really great, and I love the pizza we had, and it's like it gave me a free shirt, and you can sift through that stuff, and the comments were oh my gosh, I learned something that's going to help me be successful in my business. You can tell a good trainer, of course, by their credentials and their experience, but you can also tell a good trainer by what trainees, what students say about it. So yeah, that's.
I think that I'm just sitting here thinking. I think your training center is going to be a perfect funnel, or your like events at other facilities are going to be a perfect funnel to lead people into training at the facility. Like, hey, if you like this 1 day intensive, you should really check out our training facility.
Yep.
And it's nice to hear you're covering interior stuff and not just.
Oh, the whole car. We've invested in a state-of-the-art wash bay. Because if we were just focused on polishing paint, we wouldn't even, deal with a wash bay. But we've got an enclosed wash bay with the, compliant drain and all that stuff. Hot water, cold water. It's not.
Yeah, we just put it up over a weekend.
Foam gun.
Try to make it back at the
spot-free water, all that stuff. It's a state-of-the-art.
How big is the facility?
Well, the whole thing is 30.
The whole building is just
33.
it's just under 40. It's like close to 36,000 square feet, I believe. Don't hold me to that number, but somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And a good chunk of it is the training center, and then obviously offices, and then the rest is manufacturing.
Wow.
Which Dylan has kind of adopted the training center as his private garage for his truck.
That's what we heard.
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with it, do you?
That means sugar aisle fit great in there on Sunday.
Yeah, right next to the Wonder Woman.
Actually, we should let them park inside because if they try and steal a tool, it'll be very difficult for them to sneak away without us noticing.
Yeah. Driving off.
We do have cameras.
Where are you guys going? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
We have cameras on you. We should put a chip in that Wonder Woman buffer.
We should. I'm gonna
get a little tile, one of those tile.
Actually, it'll be the only one kept behind
GPS
glass.
tracker.
Hey,
system. That buffer's in Montana.
Yeah, that's weird. I
I
don't know anyone in Montana. All right, so if people want to, again, follow you and get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Just scream out the window. No.
You want to give out yourself?
Free pizza!
I'm there.
Yeah, probably the best way is text or email. The whole Facebook messaging is very difficult. Facebook messaging, I get so many messages that I don't even, respond to. Some of them I do, but there's so many.
I can vouch for that. He never responds to me.
I feel honored. You responded to me a couple times.
Well, of course.
He's got a quota to hit, so you just happen to be the one at the top.
Right. He just happened to be on the computer at that time.
So Jason R at RUPES USA, that's a great way because I'm on email all the time. Jason R at rupesusa.com.
You, sir.
For me, same kind of deal. Email's usually best. If you want to get a hold of me, Dylan, DYLANV at rupesusa.com. I, like Jason, don't always respond to all my Facebook messages, but if you want to see what I'm putting out into the universe, I write my thoughts, for better or worse, regularly on Facebook. Some people read it. Some people. But give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, that kind of stuff. I'm constantly kind of talking industry stuff, just kind of as I see it, because I have the privilege of being around, as all of us do. A lot of the stuff kind of behind the scenes, I like kind of giving those guys a window.
Yeah, cool little perspective. Very cool.
Kevin D. at
Just in case they haven't heard
RUPES
us.
That's my new email.
You know, that's actually how I got my
job. Yeah. That's what we're doing after this.
That's actually how I got my job. I just started throwing that email out and they hired me.
Is there a kitchen?
Yeah, I can make sandwiches. We were just talking, RUPES has they have that pad removal tool. It's awesome for spreading peanut butter. That's what we use.
We do have a very nice kitchen in the new building.
There you go.
Hey, I'll make sure
there.
Trying to find your way in.
By the way, there's a little business tidbit for you. If you want to find someone's email address high up in the company, go to their website, figure out what the way that they structure their email, and then you can just surmise what that is.
Just BCC like 85
Yeah, BCC a bunch of them. I've done that before, and it actually can work. Yeah, it can work. No, so I'm detailershelper.com, and you can find me, or I'm on Facebook, Instagram. What did we say last time? I have like 6 Instagram accounts, and then living a bunch of different lives. So yeah, and then
secret lives.
What are you doing that they're going to want to find you for?
Well, they probably have no reason to find me other
What
than
if they
to just
want like
ask
good
about-
brownies or cakes?
Well, he's starting to take over the kitchen duties.
Oh
so
wow. Moving away from just dishes, huh?
That's right, yeah.
Hey, you know what? He's in the kitchen. You invite Dylan over, and he got the bathroom handled as well.
Oh, hey, we're all set.
We can start a new
Husband.
business.
That's right.
And you and I can go jeeping, and you can bring me that Wonder Woman
I
polisher.
like how you think.
Polish it together.
I like
Let's
it.
go back to the polisher. I'm going to stand outside before she leaves. And escort you out of the booth. Have you frisked on your way out.
Yes.
Not hide the polisher, are you? You can frisk her.
But you can check us out too at Sugar High Motorsports, both on Facebook and Instagram, and Kevin and I are both part of that.
Very cool. Well, thank you all.
And where
Thank
can
you.
people reach you? What's your phone number? What's your serial number?
562.
His website is iliketostilllogos.com.
iStillDomains.com.
I still
what I
don't
did?
mean
I see what you did there.
This logo
To be
may
fair,
look,
I didn't create
This
it.
logo may look familiar.
To be fair,
Part of
I
the Detailers Inner Circle.
I didn't create it, okay? I saw it and I was like,
I will hammer you for the rest
I'm
of
gonna get
your
it
life.
changed. I'm gonna get it changed.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Head on over to autodetailingpodcast.com for full show notes and links of everything that we've talked about today. And don't forget to check out our resources page for a direct link to all the products talked about not only on today's episode, but that I use in my day-to-day detail business. They have direct links so you can purchase and get free shipping right from that page. That's autodetailingpodcast.com. We'll see you on the next episode.